Hi everybody, welcome back to Living Even Keeled. Today I want to talk to you about another book I've read so far this year called The Cozy Minimalist Home. This is by Michael Smith, also known as The Nester. This is the second book of hers that I've reviewed. I really enjoy her straightforward, not fussy, not pretentious, just really authentic way of styling her home and talking about it. She rented for a lot of years, as did I. This is our first home that we purchased, and she talks about in the first book, how to make your small budget work for you, how to find things at the thrift store, how to just make temporary fixes work when you're living, for a short-term lease or even a long-term lease, but it's not a home that you own. Now, in her second book, Michael Smith doesn't abandon those principles. She still seems to be very authentic and very real and budget conscious, but she does address what costs more in the long run, buying a few cheap things that you need to replace or one quality piece that you keep for 15 years and kind of seeing which one really costs more. And she also confronts head on the more style, less stuff idea. When we first heard of minimalism, those of us who are just sort of like average people living in the world, when we first heard of this idea, maybe it didn't sound quite like something we wanted. We were interested in having less stuff, and we were interested in managing the home in an easier way and having clutter-free and peaceful, but we're also nesters, and we also like to welcome people in our home and entertain from time to time, and we want our homes to feel cozy. But for some of us who aren't as skilled as home decorators, sometimes we think cozy equals more. At least I know I did. I wanted more pillows, I wanted more throw blankets, I needed 16 candles. I felt like cozy meant more, and it was always a struggle for me between holding on to my principles of having less stuff and wanting to sort of embark on this new journey of having a cozy home. If you are a rookie like me, you must read this book because she tells you how to accomplish just that. And this book is basically divided into two parts. The first part is sort of introducing the cozy minimalist lifestyle. She often refers to it in the book as comies, C-O-M-I. She kind of blends the two. What does a comie want? A comie wants a stylish home with less stuff. A cozy minimalist wants a beautiful mantle without 10,000 trinkets that you have to remove every time you want to go dust. A comie doesn't want to be a stuff manager anymore. Many of us love thrifting, and we feel like it's our duty to find these beautiful things at thrift stores and care for them. They are one-of-a-kind pieces, and so we bring them home. And she talks about in her book how she moved like a set of chairs or something that was never really used. She moved it from one garage to one shed to another garage, and they just weren't ever used, but she felt like it was her duty to manage this stuff because they were cute and vintage, and she knew that they were a beautiful item. But you're not using it, and we're done managing stuff. The first part of the book really gets you motivated for this comey lifestyle. Or if you already are into it, just preaching to the choir a little bit, but it gives you that confidence that you need when you go into the second part of the book, which is applying the theory, applying the practical formulas. She comes up with several formulas how to marry different, very specific items to create the perfect vignette or the perfect, mantle, the perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful, but perfect by our standards. So she has some very specific step-by-step, not vague at all, like super clear steps to follow. And I love it because she even mentions in one piece how going to the store to find a lamp that has texture, that's, exactly this many inches tall. It's much easier to shop for something like that than something cute for the mantle. Something cute for the mantle is what got me in trouble in the first place. I have so many little trinkets and things that I love, or I thought I loved, that I just don't know what to do with. They don't look good when I go to style them in my home. That's because I picked all from one category. When she decides there's other categories of things that make sense, oh, I didn't have enough scale. I got everything about the same size. I needed something with more scale or something with more mass, something darker, something with texture. And she is super funny. She is a little sarcastic. I don't know if she's sarcastic. That's not the word. She's just funny. She's quirky. She has funny ways of describing things when there's too many things that are slick in your home, like a lot of glass or a lot of metal and stuff, and what she calls that is kind of funny. The book has, just like her first one, these beautiful, like, sort of glossy colored pages where you get a lot of visuals. She takes you through certain areas that she styled before she was a cozy minimalist and after, and you can see how removing some things and adding others really changed the space. So this was the formula I was referring to. Chapter 7 talks about the decorating trinity: rugs, drapes, and lighting, and in that order. That's very important to me, and I feel like that's exactly why I don't always get the result I hope I want to get from my home. I don't follow these formulas. I kind of just buy from here and there and everywhere, which is okay, but I don't do it with a plan, and I don't do it with, you know, a color palette, and I kind of buy things out of order, so then I'm trying to match backwards and I'm making it harder on myself. So for someone like me, I just want my home to feel cozy and minimalist. I don't want to put a lot of thought into it once it's set. I'm kind of that way. I want it to look nice and feel nice and be welcoming, but I don't want to have to fuss over it too much. Like, I'll clean and stuff, but I'm realizing now that I'm not huge on, you know, changing out things for every season. I'll decorate for Christmas, I'll add a few Halloween touches, but I don't always change it for winter, spring, summer, fall. So I need something that can kind of be all the time, and I can bring in like plants or flowers or something, but I'm not really one to want to change out my paintings or art on the wall, at least not yet. But I don't have to be that way, because this formula tells me like tips on how to arrange my furniture and what type of paintings speak to me kind of all the time, so that I can kind of set and forget. And you can do all of this by using what you already have. But this isn't a book to get you to go out and buy all brand new things. However, when the time is right, she will talk about, especially couches. She goes into detail a little bit on couches, but what to buy when the time is right and when to just pull from other areas in your home and make it work. Chances are you have enough already in your home to revamp several spaces just by switching things around, and you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you can do without spending any more money. I love this side by side here of these two like mantle vignettes. So on the first one, she styled her home like this. She called it when she was still a stuff manager, managing all of her things. So she says she added all of her favorite small things until there was no room left. More stuff, but less style. And on the other one here, it's more style with less stuff. Oh, I love the way this looks. How I style my mantle as a cozy minimalist. I use large, interesting, meaningful pieces, incorporating the style factors that result in beauty and balance. More style, amazingly less stuff. I think she has a plant and a painting, and it is way more style to me. It's so much more stylish. Not that there's anything wrong with all that other stuff, but there's a time and a place and a formula, apparently. There's a Cozy Minimalist Manifesto. I won't read it all to you, but some of the things are: we believe that home exists to serve people, not the other way around. We believe it is a sacred calling to be watchful about what comes into our home and purposeful about what goes out. We believe that it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. We believe that it doesn't have to be cluttered to be cozy, and that it doesn't have to be modern to be minimal. That is a big one for me, because I don't necessarily love modern design, but I do love minimal. So, I'm so glad she married the two forms of style here. So I'll end it here by telling you one of my big takeaways. So we're looking for the style factors. So most of us know how to choose accessories for our home that we love. The problem comes when it's time to group them together in a way that looks pretty. So number one, scale. One large item has more presence and impact than a bunch of smalls. So she says, look at your accessory pile. What's the average size of your decorative objects? Most of us collect a lot of smalls, which is anything smaller than a pineapple. Certainly true in my case. Number two is shape. She says, I like to have 3 groups represented in my decor arsenal: straight lines, curved lines, and organic shapes. Third is texture. She says it's roughage for the room. So some examples of ways to bring in texture are like wood, woven baskets, chunky blankets, nubby fabrics, anything that isn't slick or smooth. And the fourth and last one here is mass. So mass is the visual weight of your stuff. It's not about how much something actually weighs, but about how much visual space it takes up. So those are her 4 style factors that she keeps in mind and wants us to learn as we go ahead and collect our accessories and sort of curate little vignettes throughout our home. Such a plethora of info here. So if you're looking for something lighthearted but informational, something that could be paired perfectly with a cup of coffee in the morning this year as you try to read more. I know some of you have that as your resolution. Start here. Why not? The Cozy Minimalist Home, more style, less stuff. Thank you for watching this book review. And if you like book reviews, stay tuned because I want to give you at least 1 or 2 a month because I do read often, but I don't usually talk about it. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions, to share some of the ones that I think most of you will like. If you are interested in home stuff, here is an advertisement for you. During February, every Friday in February, I'm going to be giving you a small home tour of a section of my home. It's been just over a year that I've lived here and I haven't talked about my home much in detail. So every Friday in February, that's 4 Fridays, I'm going to give you a tour and kind of tell you what we've updated and what we hope to update going forward this calendar year. And hopefully, even going forward beyond February, I can show you some spaces that I curate using the Cozy method. So how cool is that? Subscribe if you want to see it, or just, make sure to check back in. Thank you for watching. I hope I see you guys next time.